defenders of the night. We are Gargoyles.
The 1994 animated series Gargoyles had a way of pulling viewers into its world, offering stories that lingered long after the credits rolled. Whether it was the twists in its plot or the depth of its characters, the show managed to feel larger than life. Today, we're looking back at 12 episodes that captured that magic and left a lasting impact. But before we go into our explanation, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Awakening, Part 1, Season 1, Episode 1. There's no doubt that the first episode of the series and the beginning of a 5-episode arc revealed an engaging backstory for the titular Gargoyles, initially giving us a tease of chaos taking place in 1994 Manhattan. The episode quickly jumped back to 100 years earlier. In 994 AD, we are introduced to a group of Vikings attacking a medieval castle in Wyvern, Scotland. Despite giving a tough fight to the castle's guards, the Vikings faced a brutal defeat once the gargoyles of the castle woke up from their sleep after sunset. However, this didn't prevent the gargoyles from being feared and called monsters by the castle's human inhabitants, and their leader Goliath being insulted by their princess Catherine. The captain of the guards, who was a trusted human comrade of the gargoyles, suggested to Goliath to take care of the Vikings the following night, owing to their threat of returning, which, unbeknownst to the trusting Goliath, was an attempt to misdirect them. This led to Goliath and his mentor being taken far away from the castle while following a group of decoys, leading them to fail to return to the castle before sunrise, while the Vikings made their attack. Taking complete control of the castle with the captain's help during Gargoyle's absence, the Vikings imprisoned the princess, the nobles, and all inhabitants. The leader of the Vikings, Hakon, went on to smash the stone statues of the gargoyles to prevent any future attacks, not realizing that 4 of the gargoyles had been hiding inside the castle's dungeon. That night, Goliath and his mentor returned to find their clan destroyed, including Goliath's mate, Angel of the Night. The first episode introduced a history of betrayal from a trusted comrade and huge losses for the main characters, along with the mystery of how the creatures ended up in modern-day Manhattan. Deadly Force, Season 1, Episode 8. A lot of animated shows aimed at kids tend to not focus on topics related to real-world violence, usually trying to hide the message underneath a fantastical plot. But Gargoyles showed the issue of mishandling of guns with the depth that it rightfully deserved. Broadway, being fascinated with a recently released Western movie, became fascinated with guns. One night after catching a screening of the movie, Broadway visited Eliza Maza at her office. While the detective was busy making dinner, Broadway, finding Eliza's gun, started playing with it. Unexpectedly, the gun ended up going off, fatally injuring Eliza, with Broadway carrying her to the hospital for medical assistance. Goliath, unaware of the actual event that transpired, believed Eliza to have been shot by one of Tony Draken's gang members, as the leader was being questioned by her for the theft of high-powered laser weapons. Wanting to avenge Eliza as she lay in a coma with no assurance of recovery, Goliath followed Draken's trail leading to his warehouse. Reuniting with Broadway there, he and Goliath quickly ambushed the criminal gang and defeated them. But as he was about to kill Tony, Goliath was unexpectedly stopped by Broadway as he revealed that it wasn't Tony, but he who was responsible for Eliza's life-threatening situation. Goliath, changing his mind, tied up Tony with his men using metal rods and destroyed the laser weapons, leaving behind one broken weapon near the men for the cops to connect Tony with the theft. As Broadway and Goliath made their way to the hospital, they were glad to find out Eliza was conscious and recovering. Facing his guilt, Broadway apologized to Eliza, with her also taking part of the blame as she was careless enough not to keep her gun in a safe place. Despite Eliza's forgiveness, Broadway still felt remorse for his actions, with both him and Eliza promising not to repeat their mistakes ever again, a poignant way of educating young viewers about the accidents that can occur due to the careless use of guns, and also for the adult viewers about being responsible for the weapons they possess. Long Way to Morning, Season 1, Episode 11. Angel, now named Demona, Goliath's ex-mate turned enemy, attacked Eliza at her place, shooting her with a poisonous dart that would kill her within 24 hours. In exchange for its antidote, Demona asked Eliza to convey the message to Goliath to meet her at the Old York Opera House. Though, unbeknownst to Demona, her poisonous dart was stopped by Eliza's police badge before it could do any harm. Despite knowing this, Goliath decided to visit Demona along with his mentor, Hudson, for a peace offering. Upon reaching the opera house, Demona spared no time in attacking Hudson and Goliath. Thankfully, missing Demona's laser blast, Goliath ended up severely injured after he was smashed into a chimney. Hudson was able to protect both himself and Goliath using his sword and took refuge inside the opera house where Demona hunted them. With Demona hell-bent on killing Goliath to become the new leader of the Gargoyles, Hudson decided to hide out inside the sewage tunnel until morning. Goliath, insisting Hudson protect himself rather than him, reminded Hudson of an older mission the three Gargoyles had taken together in 984 AD. At that time, Prince Malcolm, Princess Catherine's father, was attacked by a banished sorcerer named the Archmage and was soon poisoned with a dart. Held responsible by a young Catherine, Hudson, along with Goliath and Angel, went on the quest to find Archmage's spellbook, the Grimorum Arcanorum, which had the cure for the poison written on it. During their quest, it became obvious that despite his great tracking skills, Hudson was weaker in combat compared to Goliath. With Goliath successfully recovering the spellbook by killing the Archmage, the trio returned and Hudson made Goliath the new leader of the Gargoyles. While in the present day, knowing that he couldn't defeat Demona, Hudson made sure to fight Demona until sunrise. The following night, the three Gargoyles woke up from their sleep and continued the fight with a recovered Goliath, finally defeating Demona. Hudson returned to their place with Goliath with the realization that he was not as weak as he thought himself to be. Reawakening, Season 1, Episode 13. The first season of the series came full circle in the season finale. When adjusting to the modern world and no longer living in a castle, Goliath felt more lost than ever regarding the aim of the Gargoyles. Meanwhile, Demona and Xanatos brought together their knowledge of magic and science to revive a cybernetically enhanced gargoyle who used to be part of Goliath's clan. Giving him the name Coldstone, Demona wasted no time to manipulate him against Goliath, holding the leader responsible for their clan's end 1,000 years ago. Filled with anger about Goliath's betrayal, Coldstone started causing mayhem in the city. Goliath and the rest of the Gargoyles, except for Hudson, soon arrived to stop Coldstone. Thankfully, Goliath was able to temporarily stop the fight to move somewhere abandoned to protect the city in an agreement with Xanatos. Arriving at the George Washington Bridge, the two factions quickly got into a fight with Demona, hell-bent on killing Goliath and his clan. Goliath and Coldstone got into a brutal fight and ended up falling into the icy water surrounding the bridge. With the duo sinking, Goliath was falling unconscious as Coldstone remembered Hudson's words of a gargoyle, always protecting. Coldstone grabbed Goliath out of the water, saving his former leader and proving to be true to the beliefs of the Gargoyles. Though their safety didn't last too long, as Demona tried to finish off Goliath with her laser gun, Coldstone became an unfortunate victim, getting hit by the laser while saving Goliath once again. As Coldstone fell into the water once more, Goliath followed to save him, but it was to no avail. Xanatos, who had been part of the fight in his gargoyle suit, broke Demona's gun as he wanted the gargoyles alive. Facing another defeat, Demona flew away, while the gargoyles and Eliza stood looking at the island of Manhattan. Goliath finally realized his clan's new purpose was to protect every living being in Manhattan, humans and gargoyles alike. Metamorphosis. Season 2, Episode 2. Xanatos, being one of the main antagonists of the series, was not capable of doing any good, a sentiment reiterated by Eliza, whose brother, Derek, took up Xanatos' job offer earlier in the series. Despite the opposite viewpoints, Eliza didn't stand in the way of Derek's career, but offered help if he ever needed it. Unbeknownst to her, it was going to be sooner than later. The same night during their patrol, Brooklyn and Broadway came across a female gargoyle-like creature running away from a lab called Genu Tech. Failing to rescue, the duo found a bracelet that the woman was wearing, which, upon checking, was found to be a tracking device by Eliza. Seeing the name Genu Tech etched on the device, Eliza found the lab to be owned by Xanatos. Meanwhile, Xanatos and Derek arrived at the lab where he had hired a geneticist named Dr. Anton Severius to find a way to replicate gargoyles. Dr. Severius, working without a blueprint, worked on the creatures by mixing the DNA of a jungle cat with a bat. Severius introduced to Xanatos his latest creations, but to the surprise of Xanatos, the gargoyle-like creatures were not created out of DNA, but were made by using homeless people as test subjects, which included the woman who had run away from the lab earlier, further revealing that the gargoyle's strength to fly would need a lot of energy. Severius opted for an easier option, further adding the DNA of electric eels into the mix. Horrified by the condition of the test subjects, Derek threatened Xanatos to undo the experiment immediately. Unfortunately for Derek, Severius shot a dart at him, which had the same chemical that turned the humans into gargoyle-like creatures, soon turning him into one. Threatening to hand Severius to the police, Xanatos asked him to create a cure for Derek and the other test subjects immediately. Despite creating a cure, Derek failed to be injected by it once Goliath, Lexington, Brooklyn, and Broadway arrived at the lab to rescue the runaway woman. In the fight between the gargoyles and the lab's mercenaries, the cure for Derek ended up breaking in the ground while Dr. Severius died as he crashed into the tank full of electric eels and was brutally electrocuted. Derek and the other test subjects were quickly taken to Xanatos' castle to find a cure for them, while the gargoyles left with the human, who later revealed her name to be Maggie Reed. With the sun coming up, the gargoyles couldn't help her further, and she ran away to Xanatos' castle. The gargoyles later arrived at the castle where Derek and Goliath got into a fight, with Derek holding him responsible for his condition. Eliza, with her partner Matt, also arrived at the castle and tried to reason with Derek, not realizing his true identity. Derek, despite introducing himself as Talon to Eliza, was outed immediately. Horrified by her brother's condition, Eliza tried to convince Derek that it was Xanatos' plan all along, but he refuted and unintentionally hurt Eliza using his electrical powers. Derek soon flew away from the castle while Eliza threatened Xanatos with her intention of taking him down. By the end, Eliza did turn out to be correct, as Xanatos was pretending to be oblivious to the experiment and had actually set Derek up. Dr. Severius revealed himself to be alive, while Xanatos revealed his plan to use Derek's hatred towards Goliath to his advantage with the help of the promise of a cure. The Mirror, Season 2, Episode 5. Another episode focusing on Demona's nefarious scheme. This time the villain gargoyle arrived at a museum to steal an artifact called Titania's Mirror. Though Goliath and Eliza were already hiding there to foil her plans as the duo followed her, the mirror ended up being stolen by two thugs. As the two thugs delivered the mirror to Demona's place, Eliza meanwhile revealed to the gargoyles that Demona had used herself as a distraction to steal the mirror. Using Titania's mirror, Demona summoned a trickster named Puck, one of the children of Oberon. Initially wishing for a way to stop herself from turning into stone during the day, Demona quickly changed her wish to get rid of Eliza. Once Puck had cast his spell, she further wished to get rid of all humans from the city, but unbeknownst to her, all the humans including Eliza had actually turned into gargoyles. Eliza, on the other hand, didn't feel any different about her transformation, believing herself to be a gargoyle all along. However, once she tried to recall her memories, it became clear that Eliza's transformation was probably a result of Demona's interference. Finding her on a rooftop, the gargoyles fought with her but failed to catch her as she got lost in the city full of gargoyles. Demona, irritated by Puck's spell, wished for all the gargoyles to turn back, but Puck, continuing his trickster habits, instead turned Goliath and his clan into humans. Realizing that Goliath being a human made him weak against her, Demona quickly found the group and attacked them. Using Puck's help, Demona used the weapons of the gargoyles to turn humans against them, but faced defeat against Gargoyle Eliza. Finally capturing the duo, Goliath asked Puck to undo his magic in return for his freedom, which Puck immediately did, but ran away with the mirror and Demona. Realizing that she was defeated once again, Demona told Puck to leave. As Puck left fulfilling one of Demona's initial wishes, she was glad not to turn into stone once the sun came out, only to find out that she had turned into a human instead. Eye of the Beholder, Season 2, Episode 7. Even the best villains fall in love, as did Xanatos with Fox, with their relationship going strong. The man didn't waste any time to propose marriage. Though hesitant at first, their engagement was sealed once Xanatos presented Fox with a necklace known as the Eye of Odin. However, the artifact unknowingly came with a curse, turning Fox into a werewolf during the night. Coming across the werewolf inside a grocery store on the night before Halloween, Eliza was confused, to say the least. Meanwhile, Xanatos, upon asking for the necklace to be returned for engraving, had his suspicions found true once Fox transformed into the werewolf in front of him. Despite trying his best, Xanatos failed to stop the werewolf, only managing to put a tracking device on it. Giving Eliza an anonymous tip about the werewolf's location, Xanatos went after the creature. Facing quite a defeat against the werewolf and finding Eliza and Goliath's arrival to be of no help, the werewolf quickly made her escape. Initially believing Goliath to take care of the werewolf for him, Xanatos' plan was quickly found out and he was forced to beg the gargoyle for his help. He also ended up revealing the werewolf's true identity to be Fox, and for her not having enough time left as the transformation had put a strain on her. Although initially refusing, believing Xanatos to be lying, Goliath soon changed his mind and, along with Xanatos and Eliza, started following the werewolf's trail. Upon finding the werewolf and trying his best to reach into Fox's love for him, Xanatos' attempt ended up failing once the werewolf mistook Eliza for Fox, attacking her. This led to Goliath interfering, pinning the werewolf to an electric sign long enough for Xanatos to finally be able to remove the Eye of Odin. With Fox turned back into a human, Xanatos had a happy ending while handing the Eye of Odin to Goliath. Vows, Season 2, Episode 8. With an engagement that already turned the bride-to-be into a werewolf, it wouldn't be a surprise that the wedding would be eventful as well. Goliath got invited to Xanatos and Fox's wedding as his best man, though Eliza suggested that he not attend it. Remembering his own exchange of vows with Demona and carrying the half of the artifact he had split with her after it, Goliath decided to attend the wedding. Also in attendance was Xanatos' father, Petros, and Goliath's ex-mate, Demona. The wedding went off without a hitch, but things took a turn when Goliath went to talk to Demona with the artifact. That's when she showed her true colors. Putting the two halves together, she revealed it was a Phoenix Gate, a tool for time travel. Chanting the spell, Demona tried to go back to the night she had taken her vows with Goliath in 975 AD, while Xanatos, Fox, Petros, and Goliath also tagged along. Young Demona, who was called Angel of the Night by Goliath back then, was also tasked with stealing the Phoenix Gate that night for the Archmage. Successful at her task, Angel got a visit from 1994 Demona, but the duo were interrupted by 1994 Goliath. Realizing that there's not much time in hand, Demona teleported the three of them to 994 right after the Wyvern Castle massacre, trying her best to convince Angel not to go through with the vows and rather to use the Phoenix Gate to destroy humans and become the ruler of the Gargoyles. Angel, though, refused to become like Demona and defeated her future self with brute strength. Goliath, who tried to protect Angel, was questioned by her about what should be her decision. Goliath, without any hesitation, asked her to let her emotions run their course and allow the events to take place as it is. Accepting the advice, Angel returned to her time to exchange her vows with Goliath that night, while Goliath took Demona, along with Xanatos and his family, back to 1994. Upon returning, Demona revealed that she had remembered Goliath's advice, but despite that, she still hated him. With Goliath leaving feeling ever so slightly disappointed, it became clear that no matter what, the union between him and Demona was fated to end. Meanwhile, Xanatos received a small sum of money for rescuing Prince Malcolm's bride, which he had set up to receive in the future, revealing he had created a time loop to become rich. City of Stone, Season 2, Episodes 9 through 12. For a recurring antagonist, Demona, despite having close ties with the main Gargoyles, particularly Goliath, had a lot of her history unexplored. The initial missing puzzle pieces came together in this 4-part story arc as we found out about Demona's journey in the initial 100 years following the Wyvern Castle massacre. Revealed to be working alongside the captain of the guards to kill off all the castle's humans, Angel's plans went awry when, instead of taking all the Gargoyles to search for the Vikings, Goliath left with only Hudson. Hiding near the ocean, Angel remained protected from the Vikings, coming back to find all of her clan wiped out. Feeling guilty for partly being responsible for the end of her clan and unable to face Goliath, Angel left the castle hoping to return later with the excuse of her searching for Goliath. This ended up being a horrible plan, as she returned to find Goliath and the remaining Gargoyles turned into statues, leaving her all alone. As she raided a barn in search of food, Angel came across a young boy whose face she scratched using her claws, leading to permanent scars. Unbeknownst to her, this one act of hate led to the creation of her mortal enemy, who would go on to hunt her as well as other Gargoyles in his lifetime. The young boy named Gillicumgan grew to become the hunter, along with using his reputation for political gain. King Duncan would later send the hunter on a mission to kill his cousin, Macbeth's father, Findalec, during which he would once again fight Angel, leading to Angel saving the lives of Macbeth, along with his future wife, Groch. Macbeth and Angel meet each other once again in 1032 AD while hunting Gillicumgan, who Duncan revealed Macbeth being his father's killer. As the two unfortunate allies come together, Gillicumgan fell to his death while Macbeth repaid Angel by saving her life this time. The duo met once more in 1040 AD, when, after hearing a prophecy of Macbeth becoming the king, led to Duncan sending his army against him. With no option left for them, Macbeth and Angel made a deal of connecting each other's life forces, leading to Angel gaining back her youth, while Macbeth got older. With the help of Angel and her clan, Macbeth became successful in defeating Duncan, becoming the new King of Scotland, along with making Angel his primary advisor with a new name, Demona. This partnership ended up lasting only until 1057 AD, when Demona, believing Macbeth to have betrayed her to win against the English army, left his castle right before battle. This led to Macbeth's castle being burnt by the English army, while he fled with his son and wife only to face death at the hands of Duncan's son, Canmore, who became the new hunter. The three weird sisters arrived to reveal that Demona and Macbeth's connection to one another would lead them to remain alive until eventually one of them killed the other. Already accused of sorcery, Macbeth ended up leaving his family after coming back to life as his own people would fear him. This eventually led to the present day when Macbeth, becoming the new hunter, tracked down Demona as she executed her plan of broadcasting a spell through television with Xanatos' help that turned the humans into stone at night. This made humans vulnerable enough for Demona to kill them, a feat that Xanatos was unaware of, and led to his temporary truce with the Manhattan Gargoyles to save the people. Xanatos' plan of temporarily setting fire in the sky using gas packs as per the spell that was used became successful in freeing the humans from turning into statues, while the three weird sisters left with Demona and Macbeth teleported away to somewhere unknown. Avalon Part 1, Season 2, Episode 21. If you like stories and characters coming full circle, then this episode does it the best. A knight from the past docked a boat at the lake near Central Park. As the man walked the roads, he ended up in a fight with some street thugs. Arrested for violence, the police officer's joke about the man's attire reached Eliza, making her curious. Upon questioning, she was surprised to find out that the knight was searching for Goliath and got him released from jail by lying about him being family. However, upon meeting Goliath, the gargoyle failed to recognize him, even as the knight revealed himself to be none other than Tom, who, back in 994 AD, Wyvern was a young boy idolizing the gargoyles. Taking Goliath, Eliza, and Bronx to his boat, Tom chanted a spell for their destination, following which he revealed his story. After the attack of the Vikings, Tom and his mother, Mary, helped Princess Catherine and the Magus carry the gargoyle eggs to Catherine's uncle, Kenneth II's kingdom in Edinburgh. It was at that time Tom was granted knighthood by the princess and vowed to protect the eggs with his life. But another tough battle lay ahead of them in the new kingdom, where Princess Catherine unknowingly became entangled in the throne's usurping. Kenneth was killed by Constantine, the son of the former ruler, as he became the new king and vowed to make Catherine his queen. Fearing for the safety of the eggs and also not wanting to marry Constantine, Catherine hatched a plan, pun intended, to run away from the kingdom with the help of Constantine's ex-lover, Fenella. The group took two boats as they tried to reach Avalon, an island that was also the home of Oberon's children. But before they could go further, they were stopped by the weird sisters who wouldn't allow any magical objects. With Magus's the Grimorum Arcanorum needing to be kept safe, Fenella decided to not go to Avalon to protect the spellbook, with Mary also staying with her. As Tom parted ways with his mother and went to Avalon with the princess and the Magus, the gargoyle eggs were kept safe on the island, but they faced the threat of the Archmage, who was believed to be dead. Tom also further revealed how he was still alive as time moved slowly in Avalon compared to the rest of the world, and he had arrived every 100 years to check if Goliath had awakened. As the group reached Avalon, Goliath was surprised to find no eggs, but fully grown gargoyles living there. Future tense. Season 2, Episode 43. During their journey around the world from Avalon, Goliath, his daughter Angela, Bronx, and Eliza ventured to many different locations. Yearning to return home, the trio returned to what seemed to be Manhattan, but was revealed to be a future dystopia. The trio were immediately attacked by Xanatos' improved and powerful steel gargoyles, leading to their boat getting damaged. Unfortunately for Goliath, both Angela and Eliza were taken hostage with Bronx, and him getting saved by what seemed to be an older Matt Bluestone along with a wingless claw. Goliath was shocked to find out that 40 years had passed since he left for Avalon, but with how time worked in Avalon, the situation didn't seem that far-fetched. As Matt and Claw accompanied Goliath around the city, he was shocked to find out that it was Xanatos who was responsible for the near-about post-apocalyptic Manhattan. Soon, the trio reached the hideout where Goliath reunited with his clan, but the gargoyles were not the same anymore. Hudson had passed away while fighting Xanatos, Broadway was blind, Lexington had become a cyborg, and Demona had turned over a new leaf and got married to Brooklyn, who accused Goliath of betraying them. It was also revealed that Xanatos' son, Alexander, was fighting against him, leading to the father killing his own son, much to Goliath's horror. Realizing that Xanatos had found their location, the group decided to attack the Eyrie Pyramid together as a last resort. The mission, though, ended up being a failure, with Eliza and Goliath being the sole survivors, making it back to the hideout where the duo found out that it was Lexington who was the real mastermind. The real Xanatos had died during his battle with Hudson, and it was Lexington who had been planning world domination in Xanatos' name. With no more options left, Eliza requested Goliath to use the Phoenix Gate to go back in time. Left with no energy, Goliath agreed to let Eliza give it a try until instead of taking the Phoenix Gate herself, Eliza kept on pestering Goliath to place the artifact in her hand. Realizing the trickery, Puck was forced to reveal himself to Goliath, confessing that the future he just explored was just a dream to make Goliath give him the Phoenix Gate. Not allowed to take the artifact by himself, Puck wanted to give it to Oberon, the ruler of the Third Race, and Avalon to avoid attending the gathering that was soon to be taking place. With Goliath rightfully angered, Puck revealed that this future would be a prophecy about what was to come, but left it unanswered. Waking up from the nightmare, Goliath realized the danger posed by his possession of the Phoenix Gate and quickly opened a time portal to toss the object in, making the artifact lost to time. The Gathering, Season 2, Episodes 44 and 45. The Gathering on Avalon had arrived, and as expected, Puck was the only one missing the event, forcing Oberon to visit the human world in disguise to find him. Puck's trail led to the Eyrie building, where Fox had recently given birth to her and Xanatos' son, Alexander. With Fox's parents in attendance, Owen warned Xanatos not to leave the baby alone with Fox's mother, Anastasia. The reason for it was soon revealed when Oberon arrived, revealing Anastasia to be his wife Titania. Titania, upon noticing Alexander's immense potential for being a magic user, wanted to take the baby to Avalon to give him proper training. This immediately angered the new parents as they refused to part with their baby, but failing to defeat Oberon, they were left with just an hour to say their goodbyes to the newborn. Goliath, Eliza, and Angela reunited with the rest of the Gargoyles, where they got a visit from Titania asking for their help in taking Alexander. Upon Goliath's refusal, Titania warned them against interfering in the matter either, a sentiment that the Gargoyles were not keen on keeping. Owen, having made arrangements to prevent Oberon from entering the Eyrie building, decided not to be part of the fight. With the security in place, the fight started as Oberon put all the citizens to sleep, followed by immense rain. The Gargoyles, Xanatos' Steel Clan, and even Fox's father, Halcyon, came together to stop Oberon, but everything seemingly failed. That was until he was shot by an iron hook by Xanatos' father, which weakened him but not enough to stop him. This forced Owen to return and, in turn, reveal that he was none other than Puck, though even Puck failed to stop Oberon, leading him to Fox's room to take the baby. But right when all hope seemed lost, Fox attacked Oberon with her magical powers that were activated by her intense emotions. This created a loophole for the baby to remain in the human world, with Puck taking the responsibility to train as well as protect Alexander. In turn, as punishment for not attending the gathering, Puck was banished from Avalon for eternity with his powers, only while fulfilling his responsibilities towards Alexander. Marvelous verdict. For a show made for kids in 1994, Gargoyles truly stood the test of time with its high-quality episodes that are entertaining and filled with depth, even for adults, with antagonists that never truly stay evil alongside heroes who unknowingly become harbingers of death and pain all around them. Gargoyles truly delivered a story rich in magic, science, fairy tales, mythology, and literature. A unique tale about mythical creatures that remains popular even today. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe out there. Thanks, everyone.